What if the love of your life was planning your death all along? The story begins in the cool silence of a prison cell. Stone walls, damp with the weight of time, press in on a woman whose face is hidden by the dim candlelight. Her hair is unkempt, her eyes tired but fierce. Across from her sits a priest, his hands folded over a worn Bible. He asks gently, almost in a whisper, "Child, what brought you here?" She smiles faintly, bitterly, as if the answer is heavier than her shackles. She begins to speak, her voice soft, trembling, but laced with fire. "I was never the woman they thought I was, and I was never the woman I pretended to be," she said calmly. From her lips flows the story of lust, betrayal, and dangerous love. And as she speaks, the scene dissolves into late 19th century Cuba, where the heat is thick and the air carries the salt of the sea. Luis Vargas, a wealthy Cuban coffee plantation owner, waits at the harbor. His eyes are searching, eager, nervous. He is dressed in a fine suit, but carries himself with a certain unease because he has lied. The woman he has sent for from America, a mail-order bride, believes him to be a humble clerk. He fears that when she learns the truth, she may turn from him. From the ship descends Julia Russell, a figure in a pale dress, stepping carefully onto Cuban soil. But Luis's breath catches. She looks nothing like her photograph. Her beauty is sharper, more dangerous. Her eyes carry secrets. "You are not the woman in the picture," Luis says, his voice breaking with confusion. Julia meets his gaze steadily. "And you are not the man you claim to be." She explains she sent a false photograph because she did not want a husband who wanted her only for her beauty. She wanted someone who desired truth, not surface. Luis chuckles softly, tension breaking. "Then we are both liars. But perhaps we can learn to trust each other." Within hours, bells toll at a church, vows are spoken, and Luis kisses his bride with desperation. Their wedding night burns with urgency. He is consumed by her scent, her body, her whisper. Julia is not a dream. She is fire, and he gives himself to it completely. Days turn into weeks, and Luis falls deeper. Julia is his obsession, his anchor. He tells her, "All I have is yours, my home, my money, my name." He places her on his bank accounts, trusts her with everything. She smiles, tracing his face with her hand. "Then you are mine, Luis, entirely mine." But letters arrive from Julia's supposed sister, Emily, in Delaware. Letters filled with worry. Letters begging for Julia's reply. Julia hesitates, refusing to answer. Luis, fearful that silence will bring suspicion, insists. "You must write back, for both our sakes." She resists until his stern voice pushes her hand to the paper. The letter is sent, though her eyes linger on it with a shadow of regret. Time passes. Then, one afternoon, a detective arrives. Walter Downs, a man with cold eyes and a smooth voice. He tells Luis he was hired by Emily to find her sister. He asks to see Julia. Luis informs Julia, and her reaction is sharp, nervous, more than a wife fearing exposure. She is panicked. Emily arrives in Cuba, clutching Julia's letter. "This is not my sister's hand," she says, her eyes accusing. "Whoever this woman is, she has deceived you. My Julia is gone." Luis's world crumbles. He rushes to his accounts, empty. Julia has vanished, and so has his fortune. Rage and heartbreak mix inside him like poison. He searches, and soon he finds her. But Julia is not alone. Walter stands beside her. The detective is no savior. He is her partner. Luis stares in disbelief. "You lied to me, both of you." Walter sneers. She never loved you, Vargas. She used you. Luis looks at Julia, his chest breaking. Tell me it isn't true. Tell me you felt something. Her silence is answer enough, but her eyes flicker with conflict. In a fit of rage, Luis and Walter clash. Shots ring out. Walter falls. Julia grabs Luis's arm, trembling. We must leave now. She tells Luis Walter is dead. She begs him to trust her once more. Her voice trembles as she says, I do love you, Luis. You are the only man who has ever truly loved me. Luis, blinded by passion, believes her. He flees with her, leaving everything behind. But soon he learns the truth. Walter is alive. Julia calls him Billy. He is not her enemy, but her lover, her partner from long before. Their bond is twisted, violent, steeped in passion and pain. He carves a scar into her back before taking her to bed, as he has done before. Luis watches from shadows, torn between rage and desire, yet unable to tear himself away from her hold. Still, he remains by her side. He gives up his wealth, his safety, his future to keep her close, but doubts coil around his heart. One night, he follows her, watching as she meets Billy. He overhears enough to know she plans to poison him that very night. His hands shake, his breath falters, yet he returns home and waits. When she arrives with the drink, he looks into her eyes and whispers, I know everything. He takes the cup, smiles faintly, and swallows. Her face twists with shock. Tears threaten her eyes. Why, Luis? Why would you do this? Because I love you, he breathes. He collapses and she flees with him in her arms. Billy follows, relentless, a shadow at their backs. They reach a train station, chaos all around. Billy corners them, his blade against Julia's throat. His voice seethes with betrayal. You chose him? After everything, you chose him? Luis, bleeding and weak, raises a gun. He fires, wounding Billy. Julia, screaming with rage, finishes him with her own hand. His body falls, lifeless. The story folds back to the prison cell. Julia sits in silence. The priest looks shaken, his face pale. She whispers, Pray with me, Father, for the sins I cannot undo. He lowers his head, his lips moving in prayer. The next morning, guards open the cell. But instead of Julia in chains, they find the priest, dressed in her clothes, kneeling. She is gone. The scene shifts again, far from Cuba. In Morocco, the night air is filled with smoke and laughter inside a gambling den. Julia moves like silk between tables, her smile soft, her eyes sharp. She leans near gamblers, watching cards, her lips curving in secret. Across the table sits Luis. He plays, calm, collected, alive. Their eyes meet. Her glance signals the cards of the other players. He smirks, their silent language unbroken. To the gamblers, Luis begins a tale. Let me tell you a story of love, of betrayal, of death and rebirth. Julia's hand brushes his shoulder as she moves behind him, the spark between them alive, dangerous, unrepentant. And so their story continues. Two lovers bound not by trust or truth, but by passion strong enough to burn the world around them. This story is inspired by the movie Original Sin, 2001, starring Antonio Banderas and Angelina Jolie. What do you think? Was Julia driven by love or betrayal? Share your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this.